so for history, Biden, I don't think there's much debate anymore. He is a enormously consequential president, and just judging him by his legislative agenda, he's sort of in that modern pantheon now.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. The media went into Mar-A-Lago madness this week, just hyperventilating with glee that the FBI raided Trump's Florida home without giving any reasons to the press or the public.
We need to confront fascism and defeat it. So everybody that's freaking out over fascists being fascists, well, guess what? That's what fascists do. That's why we have law enforcement to actually bring fascists to justice. So please don't run around with your hair on fire and say, oh my God.
Joe really likes that word fascist, but don't you dare question the use of government agents raiding the homes of political opponents, because that doesn't come across fascist at all to the media.
And Kevin McCarthy with really, I have to say, an outrageous attack on Merrick Garland, brace yourself when we take over, clear your calendar, we're going to investigate you. Merrick Garland is the most careful, judicious, to a fault, some would say.
Yes, to question the actions and want answers after government agents raid the home of a former president is
an outrageous attack.
Oh, wait, we may not want to call it a raid.
A quick, but I want to say important note for our audience. We keep hearing a lot of people call what the FBI did at Mar-A-Lago a raid. But for fact's sake, here's the deal. Law enforcement doesn't even use the term raid. So what actually happened? The Justice Department applied for and got a court-authorized search warrant that gave them lawful authority to enter Trump's home. That was consistent with the Fourth Amendment probable cause requirement and allowed agents to seize items as permitted by the judge and as outlined in the warrant. Words matter. And calling a court-authorized search a raid suggests some sort of degree of aggression.
You see, it's not a raid. That term implies something harsh happened. It's totally different than referring to January 6th as an insurrection, even though no one's been charged with insurrection, or calling Florida's Parental Rights and Education Act the Don't Say Gay bill, even though the word gay never appeared in it.
Words matter.
Rather suddenly for some, it seems. I mean, the leftist media wouldn't want to use words loosely and speculate on things.
So, the fact is that we are in uncharted waters here, right? Who goes to a president's residence to take documents? In my view, John, I think the issue here is that indictment, and I'll say it, I think it's imminent as it relates to the president. Look at the timing and everything else. I think he's in trouble. I think his surroundings, Jeffrey Clark, John Eastman, perhaps Mr. Giuliani, it's going down.
The leftist media just could not hide their absolute glee over the raid at Trump's house. But don't worry, they did manage to track down at least one thing about the whole incident that they didn't like.
This week should be dominated by positive White House headlines because of all of these legislative wins. Is it getting overshadowed by the Trump headlines? Even though those are bad for Trump, Biden's not getting the headlines.
Stephanie, I think that the White House is doing everything they can to push through.
Yeah, somehow they'll push through. Maybe, just maybe, perhaps they'll get some help from the leftist media, who just love to see Democrats pass over $700 billion in spending this week.
There's really nothing like that in terms of that scale. You got to go back to, I think, depending on how you define these things, to LBJ. And I think, so for history, Biden, I don't think there's much debate anymore. He is a enormously consequential president, and just judging him by his legislative agenda, he's sort of in that modern pantheon now.
Pantheon, oh yeah.
Depending on how you define these things.
CNN elevating Joe Biden to near godlike status for doing what Democrats do best, spending unimaginable amounts of taxpayer money and raising taxes.
First of all, it's important to stop and recognize the breadth of accomplishments that Democrats and President Biden have achieved.
Record inflation, record food prices, high gas prices, a recession, but oh wait, we found out inflation fell 0.6% in July. So the media just didn't have enough time to praise Biden this week.
This week should be dominated by positive White House headlines.
Actually celebrating an inflation rate of over 8% from a year ago. I mean, that's just great.
Prices rose 8.5% in July compared to a year ago. This follows June's inflation rate of 9.1%, which was the highest in more than 40 years. The national average of a price for a gallon of gas has fallen nearly 70 cents just over the past month. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to help us break this all down. Jill, good morning. 8.5%. That's a significant reduction.
Yeah.
That recession talk, we're just done with that now.
I think that maybe for another month, we're going to sort of put that recession talk off to the table.
But let's put on the table some heaping servings of praise for the Biden administration. I mean, there was plenty of over-the-top dishes being served, but my favorite this week comes from Univision on gas prices.
En este momento me encuentro en una gasolinería de El Doral y ustedes tienen que ver muy bien con atención los precios de los combustibles. Ahora mismo está en 3.63 el galón de gasolina regular, la plaza está en 3.97. Son precios que realmente alegran el alma.
Yes, my soul is delighted to see gas prices only $1.50 higher than the national average was in 2020. I'm so delighted.
Galón de gasolina regular, la plaza está en 3.97. Son precios que realmente alegran el alma.
Oh, save your soul and your sanity despite the media this weekend. I'm Eric Shiner from MRC-TV asking you to visit the MRC Store. You can see a variety of conservative gear there that will delight your soul. Visit MRCTV.org for the latest in information, entertainment, and videos. Please like, share, and subscribe to these videos on the social media outlets that allow you to see them. And we'll be back next week with another look at leftist media madness.